Welcome to Men of Order. Before we go any further, I want to know who's here with me live. So leave a comment. Let me know where you're watching from so I can show you some love. I see y'all. Y'all are coming in. We are getting ready for a session tonight. I got to clear the air, y'all. Men of Order is not for everybody. This platform is for men who carry responsibility for their family, their work, their finances, their faith. And even though you're doing your best, life still feels heavier than it should. If that's you, type "that's me" in the comments because I want to see who's out there. I see Stuart Uzziah. Detroit is in the house. I see you, brother. Leave me a comment. Let me know that you're here with me live, that you're tapped in. Let me know what city you're watching from so that way I could shout you out. Tonight, we're talking about money, but not the way that the internet talks about it, guys. We're not talking about hustle. We're not talking about quick fixes. We're not talking about just make more. Tonight, we're slowing down and figuring out why money keeps slipping away from your hands. Why does money keep working hard and making money? Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you work, the minute you get money, it's already gone? I see we got a lot of folks in the house tonight. I see we got Atlanta in the house. I see we got Florida in the house. I see we got Women of Order in the house from ATL as well as Texas. Shout out to y'all. Are y'all open to having a real conversation with me tonight, men? So I can help you get more control over your money, less stress, and a clear plan forward? Inside of Men of Order, we always ask three questions. What does an ordered man actually do here? That's question one. How do ordered men move? The second question, where does disorder sneak in? Because most people, they never say, oh, I think I'll have disorder today. Most people never wake up searching for disorder. But it's so funny, disorder seems to find us. Even when you're trying to do better, disorder sneaks in. So we find out in these sessions how disorder disguises itself among us. How does it sneak in? The third question that we ask ourselves as men of order is, what system removes the chaos? If you want to be in order, guys, you have to have systems. So what I want you to do is I want you to type 1, 2, or 3 to let me know which question you think you struggle with the most when it comes to money. I'm going to repeat these questions for y'all so y'all could leave me an answer in the comments. Question 1, what does an ordered man actually do here? Question 2, where does disorder sneak into my life? Question 3, what system removes the chaos? Which question do you struggle with the most when it comes to your personal finances? I'm seeing more love in the comment section. Okay. So again, I want y'all to let me know where you think you struggle the most. I'm going to be reading these comments as you send them. But for now, we're going to begin. Here's the lie that most men believe. If I just made more money, I wouldn't be stressed every month. I wouldn't be worried about bills, and I wouldn't feel like my money keeps disappearing. Have you ever felt that way? I'm seeing the comments. I'm seeing a lot of threes. I'm seeing men who need systems in their life. Have you ever felt like if I just made more money, then a lot of my stress would go away? We tend to fool ourselves. Most men don't have a money problem. They have a clarity problem. Now, I know what you're thinking. Uzziah, why are you lying to us, man? We got money problems. Most men don't have a money problem. See, money comes at the last of all of your efforts. That's at the finish line. But what comes prior to making money? Clarity. Without clarity, how will you make more money? Most men don't have a money problem. They have a problem with clarity. They don't know where the money that they do have is going. So if they don't know where the money is going, that's why they think having more money will fix it. They can't keep up with the money they already have, so they need more of it. Let me tell you all a secret. More money doesn't fix disorder, it feeds it. Facts. Let me break it down for you. If you don't manage money well when you have a little, you won't manage it well when you have a lot. If you don't manage money well when you make a little money, you won't manage money well when you make a lot of money. You'll just have bigger problems. In fact, the Bible already told us this a long time ago. It tells us in the book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 6, that you earn wages only to put them in a bag with holes. That's crazy. See, that's not a money problem. That's a disorder problem. Be honest. How many of you feel like money comes in and then it disappears as soon as you get it? Type slipping in the comments if that's you. I want to see who's honest. Now, here's how disorder shows up with money. Emotional spending. Emotional spending looks like this. You've had a long day. You've worked from sun up to sundown. You're stressed. You're tired. You're frustrated. But instead of dealing with that feeling, you buy something. You spend money on food, clothes, gadgets, eating out. See, this is where that slipping comes from. You see this in the comments? Slipping, slipping, slipping. These are the reasons why the money is slipping away. You've had a long day. You're stressed out. You're tired. So what do you do to give yourself comfort? You spend money. You spend money on all kind of things, restaurants, the latest car, not because you plan to spend money, but because it makes you feel better for a moment in time. You know, we make a lot of impulse decisions, instant gratitude. Impulse spending means you see something, you want it, and then you buy it on the spot without checking your bank account, without checking your budget, and without thinking about tomorrow. It's only for right now. YOLO. You have no clear budget. You don't even know what a budget is. You like Uzziah, why do you keep saying this word budget and we don't know what a budget is? Oh, we're going to find out what a budget is tonight. Because how can we be men of order if we don't know what a budget is? In fact, if you want to prove to somebody that you're not a man of order, tell them that you don't know what a budget is. Now we got to get right. See, a disordered man has no clear budget. No clear budget means you're not sitting down ahead of time and deciding how much money goes towards bills, food, gas, savings, or spending. You have no idea what's happening in your life. Instead, you're just checking your bank account, hoping that it's enough there, that you're not on overdraft. And then whatever is there, you're just reacting to it as the month goes on. You're not deciding ahead of time where your money is supposed to go. So every dollar is up for grabs. That's why when it comes to your money, everything feels like one big blur. Everything feels like a blur because you don't know how much money you're actually spending on food, on gas, on bills, on fun. You just look at your bank account and hope that there's enough left. The problem is you don't tell your money where to go. And when you don't tell your money where to go, every dollar goes out the account. Every dollar is for the taking. How can you be wealthy if every dollar that you have is going to someone else, some other company, some other enterprise? Half of these companies care nothing about you, but you just letting it all go, all of your hard-earned money. The bills, they gonna take what they want. Best believe that. They gonna get their money. Your emotions will take what it wants. That's why you have impulse spending. See, impulse spending means spend, 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 just because you feel like it at a moment's notice. Impulse takes what it wants. And then you're left trying to clean up the mess that you made afterwards. How does that show up? In the form of debt, in the form of overdraft. Your account is in the red. You made a decision in the moment just to give yourself some comfort for a moment in time. And then you could be paying for that decision literally years on end. You're too reactive. This is about being proactive. As men of order, we have to be proactive, not reactive in all things. Money slipping out of your hands because you react after the money is gone. When the money is gone, you react by stressing out, moving money around, using credit cards, borrowing money, taking out loans, asking family members and friends. That's just adding more stress to your life. Or you tell yourself, I'll fix this problem next month. Oh, don't worry, baby. Everything's fine. I'll fix the finances next month. And you know, next month, things are only going to get worse. Why? Because you lack order. It's not because you're not working hard enough. It's not because you're not talented. The problem with your life is disorder. You have disorder when it comes to your personal finances. I want to read a Bible verse to you. This is in the book of Proverbs 21 and verse 20. It reads, "There is treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spendeth it up." See, I need y'all to see something. When the Bible says that there is treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise, the rich had storehouses. They did not take every resource that they had and spend it instantly. Read the story about Joseph and the 7 years of plenty. The Bible says a foolish man spends everything that he has. That's not about money. That's about self-control. That's about order. Guys, I want to check in with you really quick. Do you spend money based on how you feel? Be honest. Put a yes or a no in the comments. I ain't forget about y'all. I'm seeing y'all in the comments. I see you. California's in the house. We got all kind of folks, cities and states. Savannah, Georgia. We in here tonight. Spiritually, men make this mistake. They pray for more money instead of being good at managing the money they already have. How do you think that God looks at you? Here it is. You're asking God to give you more money. But if he gave you more money, would you know what to do with it? Think about what happens to lottery winners, how quickly they go bankrupt a few years after they get it. You pray for more money, but you're not a good steward with the money that you already have. And sometimes God looks and says, until you fix this problem, you won't fix that other problem. I see you, Illinois in the house. I see y'all. Can I read another Bible verse? Just in case some of you don't know, I'm the leader of True Spirit of Christ Church. This is the reason why I talk about the Bible fairly often. I talk a little bit about business and productivity and personal finance, but all of my wisdom is given through the inspiration of God. And the Bible speaks about all of this. When you read in the Gospel according to St. Luke, in the 16th chapter and the 10th verse, it reads, whosoever is faithful with little will be faithful with much. I need y'all to let that sink in for a little bit. God doesn't reward chaos, he rewards order. Whosoever is faithful with little will be faithful with much. Well, the opposite is also true. If you are unfaithful with a little money, you'll be unfaithful with a lot of money. And the problem is, you don't see that coming, do you? Why? Because when we don't have money, we find ourselves so desperate to get it that we never think about what happens on the other side once we actually have it. That's the reason why, like Forever Elegant says, you have to be a good steward of your money. You have to be faithful with what you have. Now, y'all know in Men of Order, we always identify principles to apply to our lives because men are about principle. It's the principle of the matter. And the reason why we're men of principle is because when we apply principles to our lives, sound principles, it can save us years of wasted effort. We got to get our minds right. Here's the first principle for tonight's session. Money flows where it's directed. If you don't tell your money where to go, your emotions will. It goes wherever your emotions send it. Let me give you an example. A man gets paid, but he has no plan for his money. That means he never sat down and decided how much money will go towards bills, how much will go to food, how much goes to gas, how much he's allowed to spend, and how much he needs to save. He's just winging it. So whenever money hits his account, he's already behind. The bills hit, and then the stress hits. And that stress hits different, don't it? Then spending happens. Guys, I've lived this. There was a time when I was making money, but I wasn't deciding ahead of time where the money was supposed to go. I'd get paid, pay a few bills, spend a little bit here and there, and then I'd look up and wonder how the money went out of my hands so fast. Nothing felt crazy to me in the moment. No single purchase felt like a big deal. But at the end of the month, I was always surprised, always frustrated, and always telling myself, I don't understand where my money went. Where's my money? It's like somebody is stealing out of my bank account. Man, is this identity theft? Who got access to my money? Where is my hard-earned dollars? The truth, though, was simple. I never decided first. I just reacted as I went. And when money has no direction, it never stays for very long. You know, my mother used to always tell me growing up, that a fool and his money are soon parted. I need y'all to understand and remember this first principle. Money flows where it's directed. If you're not directing your money, it won't stick around for very long. We cannot afford to be foolish with our money. Y'all know the cost of living is very expensive. I'm seeing some of the places where y'all at is very expensive. Illinois, California, Georgia, Texas is starting to get more expensive too, especially with everyone that's moved here, Florida, Detroit. I need y'all to understand this is not something that we could play with. Our lives are on the line. Our family is on the line. And as men of order, we have to set our house in order. Here's a question for you guys. Do you decide where your money goes before you spend it? I need y'all to respond to that. Be honest. Do you decide where your money goes before you spend it? I want you to type yes or no. Guys, I don't need y'all to be embarrassed. I need us to get in order, because when we get in order, we get better. When we get better, our family gets better. When our family gets better, our community gets better. When our community gets better, our nation gets better. But a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. This is not motivation and hype. This is a session. You came to Men of Order because you're trying to add order to your life. So that's why when we go through these sessions, we're applying order to money. We apply order to money. We apply order to productivity. We apply order to leadership. We apply order to every area of our lives. And here's the question. What do you think an ordered man does with his money? Do you think he spends it all willy-nilly, not knowing where it's going? See, an ordered man decides ahead of time exactly where his money is supposed to go. That way, whenever he does spend money, he's calm. He's not guessing. He's not hoping. He's already decided. See, this is the point where you realize the influences that you've had in your life. You might have looked at an ordered man and said, oh man, that guy's boring. Oh man, if I budget my money, that takes away all the fun. You only live once. The money ain't going with you. And then you wonder why. We bring children into this world, but we don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. We don't have no generational wealth. We'll have family members that pass away, and we got to put on a fish fry just to bury them because we don't have the money. They're not leaving anything behind. Gucci belt, Jordan shoes, all of this comes from a mindset. It's not because they did not make enough money in their lifetime. It's because they did not understand how to move in order, guys. Understand this. The Bible says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. We lack the knowledge of applying order and structure into our life. We get told all kinds of things about money from people who are broke. It starts with family. It starts with friends, and they might be well-intentioned, but are you trying to have the same finances as someone who doesn't have much of it? Or are you trying to put yourself in a better position? See, this is the reason why when I graduated from college, the first thing that I did was pay off my student loans. Whenever I graduated from Baylor University, my alma mater, I had over $95,000 in student loans. I graduated with a degree in information technology, spent years in corporate America. And it wasn't until I started having to pay back my student loans that life really got real. I started paying them student loans. My student loan monthly payment, minimum payment, was more than the cost of my rent in Austin, Texas. And that's when I realized, oh, I can't live like this forever. I'm going to have to do something about this. But see, when I was growing up in Los Angeles, I thought that student loans were free money. I thought they was just giving away free money. You never have to pay it back, because that was the knowledge that I didn't have. So when I'm sharing these things with you guys, I'm sharing this as someone who's learned it, applied it, and gotten the benefits from it. I would have never been able to make my first $1 million in real estate had I not applied order to my money first. The average American will have generated $1 million over the course of their lifetime, but they will never know it. Why? Because the disorder that comes with their finances makes the money come in today and gone tomorrow. Think about how much money changed hands when the Rona hit. All these people getting the stimulus checks, woo, free money. It went right back into the same hands. Why? Because we got money, but we got it without structure. So it didn't stay. And we're trying to find out, how did an ordered man hold on to his money? Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? If you see what I'm saying, type "I see it" in the comments. If you've seen how some people, they may not always make the most money, but they tend to keep a good amount of it around, type "I see it." Now, just to be clear, am I saying that you should not make a lot of money? I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, no matter what you make, you need to be a good steward with it. Otherwise, it can ruin you. I'm very passionate about you getting paid what you're worth. But I want to share with you guys the second principle. More money doesn't fix disorder, it exposes it. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to start early by putting a link in the comments section, so that way you and I can speak one-on-one. Some of y'all were on my session from last week, and you saw in that session, we had some amazing conversations. I want to be able to speak with some of y'all tonight. If your money keeps disappearing and you're not sure what's happening, you're working very hard, I want to give you guys the opportunity to be able to sit down with me, and we can talk about how we can fix that tonight. I just put the link in the comments section. Make sure that if you want to tap in with me, you have your camera on, you're focused, and we're going to get into it in just a second. But I want us to go back to the second principle. This is important. More money doesn't fix disorder, it exposes it. When your income goes up without structure, your spending goes up. You know what else goes up? Your stress. So does your regret. I want to give you all an example. Let's look at a man who gets a raise at his job, but he has no budget. I know y'all are still asking, Uzziah, what is a budget? A budget is just a simple plan for your money. It tells you how much comes in, what needs to be paid, and what you can safely spend. But this guy doesn't have a budget. He has no plan for his money. And he has no rules around spending. That's what that means. He has no rule for how much money he can spend eating out. He just spends as he feels. He has no rule for big purchases. No rule that says, if I don't have the money, I won't pay for it. So he spends beyond his means. His spending becomes emotional instead of intentional. And little by little, his lifestyle starts to grow without him even noticing. He spends more money because he can, not because he planned to. So he buys a brand new car. He sees something that he likes, takes it off the lot. No problem. He'll just pay the car note. He eats out more often. He goes to more restaurants, nicer restaurants. He buys more subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Amazon Prime Video. He's got it all. And 6 months later, what happens? He's still stressed. And nothing changed in his life except the size of his mess. His money did not change into wealth. He's in a worse position 6 months later than he was when he first got started making money. How does that work? You know, the craziest thing? I still remember it like it was yesterday, the day that I realized that I was poorer than a person that never worked a day in their life coming out of their mother's womb. What am I talking about? The minute I realized that I was $95,000 in student loan debt coming right out of college. You know, in the finance world, they have something called a balance sheet where you're able to compare how much you have versus how much you owe. And I'm saying, okay, I don't have anything. I have no sense of ownership. I just graduated from college, no money, but I hope I'm going to start making some money soon. But then on the other side, how much do I owe? Almost 100K. And we're not even talking about credit cards or anything else. And then I realized, what is this? I did everything that I was supposed to do. I went to school. I made good grades. I went to college, graduated with a good degree from a good institution. I worked at the number one technology company in the world at the time, Hewlett Packard. And despite all of that, it dawned on me, Uzziah, a newborn baby that has never worked a day in his life, that could grow up in poverty, is worth more financially right now than you. Because before you made $1, you already put yourself $100,000 in the red. I didn't know any better. I just did what I thought that I was supposed to do. I thought this is just how life is. That is how life is in the rat race, where most of us have never been taught about money. We've never been taught about financial literacy. So this guy who had no budget and no plan, the only thing that increased was his mess. See, I've watched this happen so many times in my life, guys. How many of y'all watched that ESPN documentary, Broke? I remember watching that. These athletes were men who made millions of dollars, more money than most of us will ever see in our life. And at first, everything seemed good. They bought houses for their families, cars they always dreamed about. They helped their homeboys and friends. They felt larger than life. But here's what stood out to me. Nobody ever taught them how to manage their money. They made a lot of it, but they didn't know what to do with it. All they said was, hey, soon as I make the league, I'm good. I'm set. I made it. Nobody helped them sit down and plan. So spending became normal. Their lifestyle kept growing. They kept buying house after house, car after car, shop until you drop. Their bills kept stacking, and eventually the checks stopped coming in. And when the money ran out, the problems never stopped. In fact, it only got worse. Divorce, lawsuits, foreclosure, stress they never felt before in their life. And you know what the saddest part about that was? they couldn't go back to what made them that money in the first place. Their career was over. They were already out of their prime. Their prime had passed. They were already out of the league. But now they had to live with the mess that they made, all because they did not have order behind their finances. See, more money didn't fix more money, it just fed their problems. You know, they got a saying, money doesn't change you. It only shows you who you really are. Whatever problems you have without money, oh, money is going to take it to a whole nother level. Sometimes God be looking out for you and not giving you more money, because if you had more money, think about how many problems would come with it. Y'all remember what BIG said? More money, more problems. You had more money, but you didn't have more order that followed. That's what happens when money grows, but order doesn't. I've watched men double their income and still live paycheck to paycheck, not because they're irresponsible men, but because order never increased with their income. So as your life elevates, order must elevate. I want y'all to leave me a comment right now if you understand that. I want you to type order. If you understand that every time your life grows, order has to grow with it. As a man, if you're given a better job, they expect you to be more ordered. They're not going to hire the guy that's more disordered. They're going to hire the guy that has his stuff together. If you have a family as a man, you have to have more order. As a single man, that was one thing, but now you have other people that are counting on you. To whom much is given, of him shall much be required. As your life elevates, order must also elevate. And I need y'all to understand something. Income without order creates bigger problems. You need more order so that the money doesn't ruin you. Type that's true if you've seen that in your own life. If you've seen people in your life make more money and it destroyed them, type that's true. I'd be willing to bet that there's at least one person watching this stream right now that told themselves, you know what? I really don't want to make any money at all because I've seen what it does to people. Did you see what it did to ordered people or disordered people? Because in the wrong hands, a lot of damage can come from it. What does an ordered man do with his life? An ordered man increases structure for income. Can I ask y'all something? If you made more money tomorrow, would your situation actually improve? I want you to think about that for a second. If you made more money tomorrow and had the money that you've been hoping for, would your situation actually improve? I know what you're thinking. Yes, duh. Of course it would, Uzziah. What kind of stupid question is that? Of course it would. But just think about it. Many athletes thought the exact same thing. They said the exact same thing. They said, man, as soon as I make it to the league, I made it. I could finally get my mama out of the hood. I won't have to struggle anymore. When I get to the NBA, I made it. Let me look at some of these comments. Sister Zanaya said, yes, this is true. Stuart Uzziah said, that's true. Man, can y'all leave me a comment? Are y'all with me? Let me know who's here. Let me know who's following. Adiah says, a lot of us have a problem with discipline due to stress. Now, how does stress come, Adiah? Through a lack of order. When we have disorder in our lives, it brings with it a lot of stress. A lot of times people, they want to go and get a pill to get rid of all their stress. No, just get rid of the disorder. You'd be surprised how much peace you can get through order. Order creates peace. But I just want y'all to know something, guys. A lot of people are blinded by money, thinking that if they just made more of it, all of their problems would go away. When they never had a money problem, they had an order problem. And that's the reason why no matter how much of it they get, they spend it. A lot of these athletes, they got to the NBA and other professional leagues only for them to get there and go through hell and heartbreak, all because they spent their entire life thinking that money alone would help them without the order and the knowledge that it takes to manage the money effectively. Learn from their mistakes, guys. Learn from my mistakes. Let's talk about the third principle. This one matters. Budget. There goes that word again. Budget. Budgeting isn't stressful. Disorder is. Disorder makes money stressful. Disorder makes every purchase feel heavy because you're never sure. You don't know if you can afford it. You don't know what bill is coming next. You don't know if this swipe of the card is going to hurt you later. So even a small purchase comes with pressure. You know one thing, man? Some of the hardest times in my life that I don't really like to think back to, but I just tell it to y'all because we learn from each other. There was a time in my life where my wife would have so much anxiety going to the grocery store because she would swipe the card and not know if it would go through. That was when I didn't have the level of order that I should have had. See, every time you use money, but there's no budget, you have no idea what's coming on the other side of that. And see, the crazy part about it is, like, you might not go through the nightmare of a situation today, and you might not go through it tomorrow. Oh, but it's coming. That disorder that you keep taking for granted, oh, it's going to catch up to you. And so what I'm trying to tell y'all is budgeting isn't stressful. Disorder is. It's the disorder that makes money stressful, because every time you make a purchase, you get butterflies because you don't know if you could actually afford it or not. Even if you have money in the bank account, you're not certain whether or not you're going to have enough money to hold you over by the end of the week. You don't know if you can afford it. You don't know what bill is coming next. You don't know whether the swipe of the card is going to backfire on you at a later time. So even a small purchase comes with pressure. See, when you're in that state, you're not enjoying what you buy. You're worrying about it. That's why they call it buyer's remorse. You think that buying this item is going to give you a sense of comfort, but as soon as you buy it, now you're back to reality. Now you're back to remembering that you really don't know what you're doing with your money. So if you spend money unnecessarily, you're wondering, oh man, how is this going to harm me and my family at a later time? And you know what's crazy? That constant worrying about your money, that wears you down. When you're constantly having to guess about whether or not you can afford something, that wears you down. So here's an example of a guy that does this very thing. There's a guy that nervously spends his money. He has no budget. He doesn't know what's safe to spend money on and what's not safe to spend money on. He really doesn't know how much money he has left, if any. He swipes his card and just prays that it goes through. Like most of us, he looks at the balance of his bank account and thinks, thank God I'm not overdraft. I still have money left to spend. Guys, that's a recipe for disaster. When I finally started budgeting my money, everything changed. Not because I suddenly made more money, but because I could finally see. Before that, I didn't think I spent that much money on food. I didn't think that gas money was a big deal. I would just go to the gas station, fill up, and keep it moving. I thought little purchases didn't add up. But once I wrote everything down and I saw the numbers, I was shocked. I realized how much money was quietly leaving my account every month. Budgeting didn't stress me out. It relieved me. It changed my life. I would not be where I am today had I not started budgeting my money in my early 20s. I can only tell you guys the truth. God is my witness. No matter how hard I worked, no matter what job I had, if I never budgeted my money, I would have always spent beyond my means. Because what happens? The minute you make more money, you spend more money. And you think that you can do it because that's what everybody else is doing. Think about doctors, lawyers, all of these hotshot corporate professionals. They end up getting these white collar positions and they might make good money. But what's the first thing that they do even before they get paid? Get the best suit you could find, drive the nicest car. They fake it until they make it. And then they spend the bulk of their money paying down all of these expenses. A lot of them, they spending money on vacations and restaurants, still trying to sell the dream. All the while, debt is piling up in the background. That's why you have to budget your money. It didn't stress me out to budget. It helped to save my life. See, I believe that budgeting goes along with your spiritual walk because the Bible says, let all things be done decently and in order. How can you have your money in order without a budget? How? You got to have a way to know where things are going. And guess what, guys? When I started budgeting my money, for the very first time, I wasn't guessing. I wasn't hoping. I wasn't afraid to look at my bank account because I knew what was happening. And once I knew what was happening, I knew exactly what to change. That's what order does. See, order, it doesn't make it a dream life instantly. Order removes your fear and gives you clarity. We gotta have clarity. And can you guess what having a budget gave me? Clarity. And clarity feels lighter than chaos that we constantly live in. I want y'all to type clarity if that's what you actually want. If you want to be able to take a lot of the fear out of you managing your money, type clarity. If you want to take away a lot of the stress that comes with managing money, type clarity. They say that most divorces in America are due to money. Probably because there's some disorder with finances. It makes things very stressful, guys. But we can't get to order if we don't have clarity. I got a question for you. Do you avoid looking at your finances because it stresses you out? Be honest. Type yes or no. Y'all heard me. Do you avoid looking at your money because it stresses you out? You look at your bank account, now you're depressed because you see the money that you have right here, all these bills right there. But you convince yourself, if I just don't look, I can do better. I can get by. As long as I just put my head down and look the other way, it's all good. We got to work past that, guys. Why? Because an ordered man doesn't shy away from his problems. An ordered man decides in advance how he spends his money. He removes his emotions from his spending. And when your emotion is removed, spending stops being so scary. Managing your money shouldn't feel like a horror film, guys. See, when you're ordered, you don't feel guilty. You don't feel anxious. You feel in control. So I want y'all to listen good. If you're working hard and making money, but somehow it still feels like your money disappears, if you're stressed every month, second guessing what purchases you should make, and you're never really sure where your money is going, if we could sit down together and figure out exactly where your money is leaking and why that keeps happening, so we could identify one change that would bring you relief this week so that you could leave this conversation knowing what to stop doing, what to start doing, and what to focus on before you get your next paycheck, then I want you to click the link in the comments right now. I'm going to put it on the screen for you. I'm inviting a few men to step up live. Make sure your camera is on. Turn YouTube off in the background so there's no echo. Sit somewhere quiet where you could focus, because this works best when you're honest and present. I'm doing this for free, showing you how you can take a step before the end of this life so that you can apply order to your finances. All right, let's see who we got. We've got Sir Yasharala in the house. Shalom, sir. Can you hear me?
Shalom, Chief Elder. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. How are you doing?
Fine, fine, fine. A lot better, a lot better.
Excellent, excellent. Glad to know that you're doing a lot better. How's things going with that winter storm?
Well, I had to make a decision. They had to make a decision. 'Cause I thought I'm gonna make it myself. I had to come back down to Birmingham and cut back up, going the long way, but they're gonna pay me for that too. So I had to come back down, go back around because they shut the road down for a couple of days. They said we're done. So, but a
I
lot
hear
better.
you.
So
I'm 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 glad to know that you're a lot better. I definitely been praying for you. Now, for our online audience, please let them know your name and where you're calling from right now.
Sir Yasharala, right now I'm somewhere in, I think, Omaha. I don't know, somewhere. I'm lost. Truckers, we can't keep up sometimes. I'm somewhere between lost and found, and it's cold. I knew don't know that much, so you
All over the place,
know.
feeling
So,
cold.
but
I hear that. So let me ask
yes,
you this, sir. In one sentence, what's feeling heavy with money right now?
steady. Since I told the market change, steady income. It's not steady anymore. So I put behind on a lot of bills. Will have to budget more than I already have. But since the market changed, you know what I mean? Which last time you was teaching, I didn't get too much in detail to class about have an alternative if something happened. I never put that in place. So now it's hurting me because sometimes it's just not making the means when the economy has changed for this industry.
Got you. So right now, what's causing the most stress is the ups and downs of the finances. It's
Correct.
not like it's steady, and that brings about stress because you got to go out there and you got to make a
Yes.
living. And so,
Yes.
let me ask you, what are you hoping changes after this conversation?
Like you said earlier, I did put it on paper, like you said, and you're correct. It was a different eye opener. And I used GPT. I put in parameters what you told me to put in, and just tweaked it a little bit. And it gave me what, like you said, the priorities, certain beginning stages like that, and it gave me a whole different insight. And when I looked at it, like, whoa, I never really done that before. You know what I mean? So now I can see that, okay, my the changes I want to make, like you said before, is to get out and transition to what I really want to do.
Okay. I'm glad that you looked into that. Now, I want to ask you some direct questions, sir, if you don't mind. And, honesty is the best policy. So that way we could really work through these challenges. So, when do you feel money pressure the most?
I felt the most for as a day or so when I'm not making the money, I guess, or by a certain date, I can't see the income to pay my bills. You know what I mean? So
Gotcha.
by Wednesday, that's what I'm ready from Monday to Wednesday. I'm stressed out because I already know if I didn't keep it what I'm supposed to pay, plus my other expenses with this vehicle I have, I know I'm in financial hardship that week or the following week or whatever.
Okay, I got you. So it sounds like because the money is up and down when it comes with trucking, that brings about a lot of uncertainty in terms of where things are going to go. And then once you find yourself getting through the week, the pressure starts to weigh in because you're like, man, I don't know where this is going to go. Is that about right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if I could ask,
Correct.
what feeling comes with that? What emotion comes with that? Does is it stress, anxiety, fear? Like how do you feel whenever you are in the middle of the week not knowing how things will end up?
Anxiety is a big plus. Stress it is because I'm pissed. I'm pissed off. You know what I mean? 'Cause I got to worry about my daughter in the college. I worry about me paying my personal bills. I got to worry about me paying my. I can't buy this stock this week or following week when stocks come up, or things I need to make sure I take care. Because I don't have a lot of expenses. I don't, not anymore. Because I had it way time before. It doesn't fit me. But make sure that I get depressed. Gotta make sure I take care of my little one that's in college still. You know what I mean? So that's my main thing. Puts me down on that. You know what I'm saying? And other things I want to do for me, but I can't do. I have to wait or whatever. Put behind. I'm working double now just to try to play catch up, and which I don't like.
Okay, got you. So you're having to work double time just to make ends meet?
Correct.
Okay. So let me ask you, where does money leak without you noticing? Because you're working double time. And I imagine you're so busy, you don't always have the free time to monitor where everything is going. Am I right?
Correct. Correct.
So if
So
if
this
if there was somewhere where you thought, man, maybe my money is kind of leaking in one area. When I'm saying leak, I'm saying, okay, when you look back at your finances, whenever you do have the opportunity to review them, do you notice that sometimes your money gets spent more in places that you wouldn't like the money to go?
Yes, Amazon and Walmart. Because you're right. When you stress, you do buy. I can go to Walmart for 10 minutes. I'm in for 4 hours. Ain't you know I'm just in there like, and I get home like, what did I buy? What I need it for? I don't even need it. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
you're correct. When you're stressed, that's that's my sign of a release of something which I really don't need. Like I got it. And I want to give it away to my family because I don't need it. You know what I mean? I just bought it just to be buying it. You know.
Absolutely. I love that you said that, sir, because when you said that, that showed that the reason why there's a leak is because there's no spending rule there. There's no spending rule to say, hey, if I'm trucking, just because I'm near a Walmart doesn't mean I need to buy at Walmart. You see, you don't have a spending rule to control what's going to work in your favor even during your leisure time. And so that's where the leak comes. Now, I want to talk about this. If nothing changes in your life for the next 12 months, if things keep going the way that it's going right now regarding your financial situation, what would happen?
I'll be burnt out. I actually be burnt out. I do know that because it happened before. Truckers can get burned out. There's a lot of things going on. How people don't understand what trucking is. I've seen a lot out here. Even people getting unalive themselves because it's a lot of stress. You're making 7,000 decisions per hour. Per hour. They done studies on this. So you eventually stress out. That's just trucking. That's not at home. You got to do it too on the phone, whatever. You know what I mean? And you 2 days away, or a day away, or 4 days away from the house. You can't take care of it. You got to call this person, that person. But I would know I would be burnt out. I would. That's why doing our feast days, I take a whole week off. You see that? I don't. Nah, I got to get away. If I don't, I know. You know.
Absolutely. I heard what you said. You said that if things don't change in the next 12 months, then you'll be burnt out. And we can't have that happen. So I want to talk a little bit about how money affects your personal life. What relationship is most impacted by your current financial state? Like with the financial stress that you take on, what relationship suffers because of that?
Relationship. Oof, I really don't think about it too much because I don't involve my daughter in my business. I relieve that stress. I don't want her to have that stress at all. I learned that from been with you for years. You already know the story. We
Yes,
taught
sir.
that she don't. She knows a little bit about it, but she's understandable. She don't. I don't want her to be stressed out. Get through your college. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. But for as my parents, I don't deal with too much. I'm probably dealing with my brother. We go on good terms and everything else in Texas. But as far as everybody, I don't deal with everybody. I just don't. Stuff I've been through. I don't want to be around people I really don't know because I don't want to go to that level. So I keep it around the church. I'm good. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But I don't really, because everybody's really doing wicked stuff, and I'm not into that. Or they doing this and doing. I'm not into all that. But so relationships, I really can't say.
Okay. So it sounds like you take all the weight on yourself. It sounds like in terms of just the financial pressure, you don't necessarily go to anyone about it in terms of your personal relationships. You work through a lot of the things here when we have our talks, but personally, you're just taking a lot of it on. And so, with that being said, sir, I want to ask you a question right now that maybe you weren't expecting me to ask. What's the lie that you're believing about money? Let me give you an example. On the last session, we uncovered the lie that hard work does not guarantee success. You know that many people do believe that if they just work hard, that they will be successful. But if their hard work is not tied to outcomes, you're just going to be running yourself into the ground with nothing to show for it. A lot of the poorest people on the planet, they work very hard. And so the reason why I wanted to ask you this is because um, I want to see what lie you might believe about money that might be making your situation more difficult right now. If you had to think just about, the thoughts that you have about money and the ideas, but maybe upon watching these sessions, you begin to question it. What's one lie that you think that you might be believing about money?
You relieving. I do know that you have to have a positive income. I do know that because I had money before I was in the world. I ain't gonna say what I used to do, but you from California, you from that side of town, you already know the hustling game. So
No, no
I'm
need,
gonna
no
say
need
what
to.
you
Correct,
right.
correct.
As I'm older, it means really nothing. I just want a stable, certain amount. That's it in my life now. You know what I mean? Because I had all that. But for as money, ugh, it doesn't make you happy. I do know that. It doesn't make you happy at all. I do know that. Period. It doesn't make you happy. It makes you do stupid things, like you said. It make you do dumb things. You know what I mean? But for as I really can't say. 'Cause I guess like you said earlier, I've been doing something for so long, I really haven't gave it any real thought. You know what I
Correct,
mean? Straight
correct.
military, straight in trucking, military, you got it. Hey, do this, has a program, whatever, you do this right. It's so perfectly. This is why I can survive in the woods. That was my field. I can do that
Correct.
excellent. I do know that. But I haven't gave it any thought because I'm always working and doing that.
I'm glad that you said that, sir. I heard you closely. You said money doesn't make you happy, and that money, it can make you do stupid things, right? So, do you ever consider sometimes that maybe subconsciously part of the reason why money can become a struggle is because of the thought that money causes you to do stupid things? So maybe money um, is not a good thing, right? Obviously, we know the Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And a lot of people, even in the religious community, they don't even know that it says that the love of money is the root of evil. They just say money is the root of all evil. So, you know, have you ever thought about how just certain ideas about money can actually take you away from it? It's like a push and pull kind of tug of war type of thing, because you know that you need it in order to live, but depending upon the thoughts that you may have, it can work against it.
Yes, I have thought about that too. And
Yes, sir.
but the I don't like it says, as long as it suffices me and my lifestyle, I'm good. Because I know if I get more than that, I know it can lead. I don't want to go that way. Though. I've done that lifestyle. Never want to go back. It's a weird lifestyle. You still have trauma from that. People think you're good. No, you're not. A lot of things I've seen and done is definitely is not. But
Correct.
you put me on the right track for as me more thinking about for what I need to do for me and how to get there the right way, not the wrong way.
Correct. I'm very glad that we're having this talk, and I'm looking forward to our next money session where we'll talk further about this, because I think one thing that's very important is the things that we tell ourselves about money and how we project that in our day to day lives. There was one thing that you said that I'm not going to push too hard on tonight, but I'm going to just touch it for us to talk about on future sessions. This idea that money doesn't buy happiness, right? Now, this is a very interesting topic, sir, because there's always like a sentiment behind different ideas. There may be some truth to it, right? Like, so for example, I'm sure we know millionaires and billionaires who have all the money in the world, but they're extremely depressed. They're very lonely, and there's a void in their life. Money does not guarantee happiness. But you know one thing, and I'd love to hear feedback about this in the comments section. If somebody gave y'all enough money to take your family on a vacation, would you find happiness by going on that vacation? If y'all had a loved one who might have been facing a terminal illness and you had the money to get them the health care that they needed to potentially avoid going down a bad path, would you feel a sense of satisfaction from that? See, what I'm going over here is the things that we tell ourselves about money influences how we make money. You see, like if someone believes, okay, you know what? I have to work very hard to make money, then they're going to put themselves in positions to lose money. Why? Because the person that's always thinking that they have to work hard because hard work equals money, they're going to end up being outsmarted by the person that says it's not about hard work, it's about value. If I can create something of value, I can make money while I'm not even working. I mean, this is something that Warren Buffett talked about some time ago. He said um, if you're not making money while you're sleeping, you're not really making money. And the reason why I'm bringing this up here is because it's all about perspective. So what I want us to do in future sessions is I want us to talk more about the lies that we convince ourselves about money, because they're all over the place. Like I said before, you know, um, a penny saved is a penny earned. Hard work is the key to success. We get taught all of these things, and then we wonder why we have to go through life and it becomes such a struggle. What's the money lie that I uncovered in tonight's session? More money will fix all of my problems. Now, if that's not a myth, I don't know what is. What have I shown you? It's not about money, it's about disorder. See, money is just a scorecard, it's just a mirror. It's just showing you the results of your life's decisions. It's no different than if you were to look at your weight on a scale. These are simply reflectors, largely of thoughts. And that's the reason why Napoleon Hill had that book about Think and Grow Rich. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. I don't want to sidetrack us too much, but I do want to talk about your next move. The first thing that we need, sir, is we need money rules. You got to have money rules put in place. Like what I mentioned about, when you're stopping on the road while you're trucking. Okay, I'm stopping. I got some time. Now I'm going to be on Amazon. Now I'm going to Walmart. And I don't actually need these items. I'm just getting these items. We got to get past any impulse spending. Of course, the next thing that we need to make sure that we're doing is budgeting. right? We need to know, okay, what's coming in and what's going out. And we need to be very clear that, okay, if you're having to work double time to make ends meet, we definitely have to be very careful about spending money unplanned. Because remember, in 12 months from now, you don't want to burn out. In 12 months from now, you don't even want to be in trucking. So the decisions that you make over the next 12 months with your money, it's all very critical. Okay. And so I like what Brother Aaron said, kind of going back a little bit earlier. He says money can assist with happiness when all other phases of life are in order. You know, I'm sure that Brother Aaron used money for happiness when he came to his church's Passover event. I'm sure that Aaron would have been more devastated had he not had the money to attend. You see? And so again, we really got to think about these things because we got to ask ourselves, okay, is it about money or is it about options? Is it about impact? We don't just want money for money's sake, but we want the option of being able to help someone else. We want the option of being able to maybe switch into another path. We don't want to always work at a job that we hate. So, what are we going to have to do with money to put all of that in place? Okay. We need to make sure that we have money rules. We need to make sure that we have a budget. And it's very important that you decide where your money is going really before the month even begins. I'm going to speak about this a little bit further, Sir Yashrala, but I want to make it known. The core disorder is about reacting to money instead of being in control of it. You know, if you find yourself passing by different stores and you didn't plan on spending, but the stores are there, you give the stores the control, right? And that comes in the form of a leak. So no matter how much money you make, we've got to plug that leak. We got to stop that leak. And then everything else will grow from there. Okay. Your first order move is deciding ahead of time where your money is supposed to go and making decision rules around how the money is spent. Okay. So I thank you so much, sir. And I'm looking forward to us getting on the next session, Lord willing. All right. So, men, did you hear that? I want you to see what's happening. What we just discussed was not an income problem, it was a structure problem. You've got to know how you're going to protect your money when you go out from one place to the next. If you can see that, type I see it. I want to hear from y'all in the comments section. You know, what environments do you find yourself in where you spend money unexpectedly? Sometimes you might spend money, you know, passing by a mall. You had no business even going in the mall. You didn't think you was going to the mall. But hey, I'm in the area. You know what? I'm going to go and see what's inside. Now you walking outside, you know, $200 with clothes. You got to be able to see what environments you place yourself in that works against your bigger goals. I want us to look at this comment. Amazing how I ended up seeing your live tonight and you're talking about money. Money doesn't fix everything. Changing your mindset changes everything. 13 years of rocking with Uzziah, debt free. Wow. My brother, my brother, my brother. Good to see you on, man. It's always a pleasure. Listen, man, I got to get you on one of these sessions, Antonio. I'm back and I need us to talk, man. This brother Antonio, he has done some amazing things in his life. He's a business owner. He's a family man. He is definitely a man of order. I've learned order from him, and I'm very proud that over these years, he's made the right decisions in his life by getting himself out of debt and really putting his family in a strong position to create generational wealth and build a legacy. Antonio, so proud of you, man. Love you. And I'm looking forward to us reconnecting here online very soon. Okay. Brother Aaron says, sometimes I'll spend more because I made more, and that's against my own rule book. You see, you got to have decision rules. And what Brother Aaron is talking about is the number one trap that happens when you make more money. And do you know the scariest part about it is the more money you make, the more you're likely to overshoot how much money you can spend. I want you to think about that. You know, if you only got $5 to your name, you don't think that you could buy a yacht. But I know guys, the minute they make six figures, they think that they should be flying on private jets. They think that they should be out in Monaco somewhere. It's like they get delusional about what's really going on. I mean, six figures ain't what it used to be. And the cost of living is so high. And that's the reason why we can't just go off of the number. We have to go off of order, and we have to go off of structure. How did Antonio become debt free? By applying order to his finances. A lot of y'all don't know this. I ain't telling Antonio's business like that. Antonio went to the same college as me, same university. I'm talking about I'm paying off $95,000 in student loan debt. Antonio knows what it is. That level of student loans, unless you add order to your finances, you're going to be stuck with that for life. And so, guys, I just want you to think about how much better your life could be if you add order to it. Because not only can it bring you more money and more success, and you know what to do with it effectively, being a good steward of your finances, it reduces your stress. The reason why it's so hard to get ahead is because you're so stressed out from where you are. Why are so many people feeling so stuck in the middle class that's dwindling? Because it's hard enough just to get by where you are. How could you possibly put in more hours? But did you see what I did there? I shared with you guys a subtle lie that people tell themselves about money. You have to work more hours to make money. And that's just not true. And that's why in Men of Order, we have to talk about how order works for you by creating systems. So this is what I want us to talk about right now, guys. I want us to talk about this. It's not an income problem. It's a structure problem. And if you see it, type I see it. Because we're not building full systems tonight, but I do want to show you what order looks like. I want to show you the shape of order. I want to talk about money lanes. See, ordered money has lanes, no different from the lanes on a highway. Do y'all know what money lanes are? Money that you must spend, money that you can spend, and money that you protect. What's the difference? Money you must spend is your bills. You know, things like rent, mortgage, if you're a homeowner, your utilities, cost of insurance, basic food, transportation. See, the money you must spend has a job, and you respect that job because it keeps you secure. Money you can spend is for enjoyment. See, this is eating out, doing nice things, having fun. We want to enjoy life, but we got to be real with ourselves. When you have money that you can spend, that's the things that you choose for your enjoyment. Now, you could decide how much money you can spend ahead of time, right, Sir Yasharala? You can decide how much money you can spend ahead of time so that way enjoyment for a moment doesn't turn into regret. You know, one of my favorite expenses is vacations. I love going on vacations with my family. Why? Because I'm not going on vacations for sightseeing. I'm going for memories. I'm going to create experiences. I love it whenever I can take my sons to places where they don't feel like everything is above them. Do y'all know what I'm saying? I don't want them to grow up with a mindset that they're not good enough to go to this place. I don't want them to feel like, hey, you know what? You can't go to these parts because, nah, that's not for you. You didn't grow up, as a rich kid or something like that. I want my sons to grow through this life knowing that they can do whatever they put their minds to and that nothing is too great for them, that they don't feel intimidated from birth. I want us to be able to see something. When you have money that you can spend, you can use it for productive things, not for crazy things. It can reward you in a very fulfilling way. But then there's money that you protect. See, that money is for your future. Money that you protect includes things like savings, emergency fund, business money, because you want to start a business. You want to have a sense of ownership. Some of y'all do. You're looking to make a transition out of your current career path. That's future money. Future money includes getting out of debt. It includes investing. See, this money doesn't get touched just because you feel like it. This money works for you. So you don't always have to work sun up to sundown. This money that you protect, mind you, we're talking about money lanes. In the lane of money that you protect, it protects you from emergencies. It gives you options in life, and it keeps one bad moment from turning into a financial disaster. Most Americans, they go bankrupt through medical emergencies. Most Americans are only one car accident away from bankruptcy, one trip to the ER away from bankruptcy. A lot of Americans don't have $1,000 to their name in savings. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Credit card debt is at an all-time high. So the reason why money that you protect is so important in a lane of its own is because that money that you protect is going to protect you. And a lot of us are very vulnerable because we don't use money for our protection. We use it strictly for pleasure. Pleasure that's only for a moment. For some, pleasure they don't have no business dealing with is for all the wrong things. And so here's what changes first when money has lanes. When money has lanes, your stress drops. Not because you're rich, but not because you make more money. Making more money does not fix everything. When you have money lanes, you're not guessing anymore. You already know what's safe. You know what's off limits, and your mind rests fully. Oh, yeah, I know I can't go and spend money on that right now because I'm focused on this bigger thing, but it doesn't feel limiting. It feels empowering because you know the biggest thing that you want to accomplish. Every time you see me on a live with these guys, they have bigger things out of life that they want to accomplish it. But sometimes it doesn't happen in this moment because the very money that should be going towards investing in your dream, you're spending it all on impulse. And you don't even know what you bought. 2 days from now, you ain't even going to see what you bought again. It's going to be lost in your closet. Guys, we cannot waste our life. Our time is precious. See, when you have money lanes, you know what's safe, you know what's off limits, your mind can finally rest. When money has lanes, you stop stressing every time you spend. Why? Because you already decided. You already decided that you want to become the best version of yourself. You already decided that if you're going to bust your butt to make the money, that you're going to do the best things with it. You've already decided that your family, your offspring are going to have better opportunities than what you had growing up. I decided that. I decided that my children are going to have a better life. I decided that they're going to live in a better neighborhood. I decided they're going to have better access. But it starts with you. You're a man of order. You got to show yourself a man. Boys, they move however they want to move. Boys move off of emotion. If I take my little boy into the grocery store, he's going to want to get whatever that's not even good for him based upon his emotions. Men say, hey, you know what? I don't need that. I'm no longer a boy. When I became a man, I put away childish things. We're men of order. The world needs men of order. The world needs men to step up. And it starts with our finances, because if we cannot lead, and if we don't know how to manage our finances, then who's going to be running us? Who's going to be making all the decisions for us? It'll be family, it'll be friends, it'll be our woman. And then you wonder why they won't respect us. We got to decide that we want better for our life, for our family, for our future, for our legacy. We have to make a decision that we want generational wealth. We have to decide that we're going to make a sacrifice today so that we can win tomorrow. We have to decide that we're not going to take on every little thing just to have moments of pleasure, so that way everyone can win. Everyone within our circle, everyone that we care about, everyone that's depending on us. But it all starts with you. You've got to make the decision. And that's a decision that only you can make. And you decide every day through your dollar. Because where your treasure is, your heart will follow. I want to leave y'all with this. If your money keeps slipping, stop chasing more money and ask this instead: where am I disordered? God doesn't bless chaos. God blesses order. He's not the author of confusion. When your life is confused financially, problems follow. That's how the bill collectors get their confusion. That's how all of these problems come about, because there's no structure in place to stop them. Listen, guys, we're going to go through problems in life. Life is hard, but imagine how many problems we could prevent with the right level of order in our life. Look at what Antonio said. That is so true. Using systems and getting out of debt gives you a clear head to focus on building a legacy. Your head is more clear. Awesome advice. Man, Antonio, if you could be so kind, sir, we're not watching your pocket. If you could just throw out a ballpark figure of how much debt you've paid off from the time that we've started working together, I would greatly appreciate it, sir. Because, when we talk about debt, people might think, okay, yeah, Antonio, he might have paid off a credit card. He might have paid off, a $500 payday loan. I need y'all to understand something. If you knew how much debt Antonio paid off before becoming debt free, you will understand why he's the number one person in the comment section right now talking about how systems are the key to getting in order. Do y'all see how much debt Antonio paid off from the time we started working together? Over $200,000. What a blessing. Praise God. Over $200,000 Antonio has paid off in the 13 years that he and I have been talking about how to get out of debt. And it was the systems working over time. I bet if I spoke with Antonio, and this is the reason why I got to get him on a future session, I got to get him on camera. I bet if I were talking to Antonio right now, he would tell me that entire $200,000 was not just me manually working the entire time. Yeah, I had systems. I would be paying things off on autopilot. I would crunch the numbers and I would put systems in place to make sure that I was able to reach my financial goals automatically over time. Sure, he's definitely had to put in some work, no doubt. But see, over time, you begin to work smarter and not harder. We all get it out the mud at some point. We all have to grind. But every man of order comes to a realization in his life, there's only so much that you can grind before the system has to take over. There's only 24 hours in a day. There's only so much work that you can do. And we're not just here to work for work's sake. So if we can put the right systems in place, it will reduce how much we have to work at all. I need y'all to understand something. And I'm not saying this to brag in the least bit. I'm just trying to show you how systems work. Do you see this book right here? There's been times where I didn't even know that I was making money because I was getting orders on this book while I was doing something completely different. Yes, it took work for me to write the book, but I put a system in place so that way I could detach my work from my money. You can put systems in place that detaches the work from the money. Do y'all know that Michael Jackson made $100 million last year and the man's been dead for I don't know how many years? He's no longer working for his money, but the systems are in place. Why is it that for us as a people, every time we talk about a system, it's always in a negative way? Man, the system is against me. We have systematic issues. Well, if we know that there's a system in place, why don't we work the system and use it to our own benefit? Why don't we use the same system that all of these other wealthy families have used to put their people on? Or are we still going to cry broke, working hard for nothing? We got to work smarter, my people. We got to work smarter, not harder. And that's what Men of Order is all about. So we're going to go through the sessions. We're going to go through the principles, and you're going to see the lives of men who have applied the principles in their life for the betterment, not just of themselves, but for their family, because that's what men are supposed to do. Lead and guide their families towards a better path of life. God doesn't bless chaos. God blesses order. You need to ask yourself right now, where am I disordered? Because therein lies the answer on why more money will not fix your problem. That gives you the answer on, man, why am I keep running into these money problems? Maybe if I just fix this order issue right here, then maybe the money will come. Who knows? Set your financial house in order and the blessings will come. Before I log off, I want you to answer this question, guys. What's one money decision that you'll make before your next paycheck? I want you to type it in your comments. Before you log off, one money decision that you'll make before the next paycheck. Sir Yashala already got his. I'm creating a decision rule. Just because I'm passing by Walmart don't mean I'm shopping at Walmart. That one decision alone will help him over the next 12 months. What one decision are you going to make that's going to take it to the next level? What's one money decision that you'll make before your next paycheck, so that way you can be a blessing to your family? I want you to type it in your comments, guys. Take action. That's how change starts. In the next session, I'm going to show you why order always starts with vision. Because when you don't know where you're going, you'll waste time, money, and energy. All right, I'm seeing some comments. Stewart Uzziah is making a decision to direct his money so his money doesn't direct him. He's understanding the first principle that we went over. Money flows where it's directed. Look at the ladies even saying, gotta make the money rules. You gotta do it. Because you end up losing a lot of money having no rules. Money is a game. And every game has rules, does it not? So if you feel like you're losing at the game of money, ask yourself, when was the last time that you gave yourself rules to play the game effectively? And do you know the rules of money in general when it comes to making it, saving it, investing it, transferring it? You got to know the rules in order to win the game. Excellent, 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 excellent. Zanaya asks, where can I purchase the book? I'd like to send a copy to my father. Beautiful. I'm going to follow up with you on that, Zanaya. We've been doing a complete overhaul on this channel. We've been doing a full 180 turn, adding Men of Order. This channel used to be the Generational Wealth Podcast. Some of the people who have gotten the book in times past are praising it. Sir Yasharala says it's a great book, but as we get everything established on this new platform, I'll make sure that I send you the link, among other things. Okay, guys. So again, oh, look at what Sister Atara said. I purchased the other book that you wrote, which was The Valedictorian That Lives at Home with Mommy and Daddy. The Valedictorian That Still Lives at Home with Mommy and Daddy. My bestseller, my debut book. That book is available on Amazon. If y'all wanted to check that out, you get that on Amazon.com. All right. So, guys, I just want you to know something. You got to have order in your life. I don't know how else to say it. You know, this entire week, I've been showing you how disorder is costing you. Disorder is costing you when it comes to your productivity. It's costing you when it comes to your money. It's costing you in ways that you could never imagine. And this is the reason why we talked about money lanes and we talked about money leaks. How is my money slipping? I need you to make a decision on what you're going to do before that next paycheck. Leave a comment because this is how change starts. In the next session, I'm going to show you why order always starts with vision, guys. Because when you don't know where you're going, you're going to waste so much of your life, your time, your money, your energy, your mental health. It's all going to be lost without a vision. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Vision gives your life direction, and order helps you move towards it. We'll continue this conversation next session, guys. I'm going live again this Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Time, Lord willing. Put it on your calendar. And until next time, walk in order, brothers. Peace.